Guys, I'm at lunch right now until 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I wanted to come on here again for the second time today, and I wanted to go over this. Well, the man you're looking at is Albert Pike. He was a 33rd degree Freemason, and he was alive during the Civil War. Before then, he rose up through the ranks of Freemasonry, became a 33rd degree, which is the highest degree in Freemasonry. He wrote a couple books. One is called Morals and Dogma on the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And in that book, several times, he says that Lucifer is the true god of Freemasonry. Well, I wanted to go through here because he wrote this letter to Giuseppe Mazzini, who was a Freemason, 33rd degree in Europe. And the letter was dated August 15th, 1871, and it did not turn up until 1920. It was actually on display in the London National History Museum. I think that's the name of it. But they deny it now because they took it down in like 2012 or something like that. But it's about 3 world wars to achieve world government. And if you were already reading through, so far you can see already that this is what's going on. So let me hurry up and get this out of the way. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. We all know that happened with the Bolshevik Revolution, turned into the Soviet Union. Okay. The divergences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Okay, we know that happened. The Soviet Union absolutely decimated the surrounding countries, weakened Christianity, all of that. Now, keep in mind the whole time this letter was written in 1871, before World War I and all of that. So the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. The war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Okay, we all know about World War II. We all know that Hitler fell and all of that. And we also know that there's been a standstill, this last sentence, restrained, held in check till the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. So I don't want you to read the next part yet because it's something I want to read to you guys. Okay, so we've been at a standstill, obviously for the last 70, 80 years. Now, remember, 1871 now. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. Okay, yeah, the Jews and the Muslims have been at war. We know that since the end of the Second World War, where they created a sovereign state of Israel, May 14th, 1948 or something like that when they created Israel. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned, that's the way he describes it, with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light, funny how he calls it that, through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So as you can see, this man he was very powerful when he was alive. President Lincoln actually put him in jail for a while, but then he got out because he has friends in high places, and he is literally the architect, well, one of the more modern architects of the New World Order. He was said to have worn this ring to where he was in constant contact with Lucifer during his lifespan. And if you read the book Morals and Dogma on the ancient and accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry, I actually have not read it myself. That's probably the next book I'm going to get, even though I don't like this man because of stuff like this. Yeah, so if you didn't know about this, I just showed you. Show everybody. They deny it, that it even exists. The London National History Museum denies it, that they ever had it up in their museum, but people have pictures of it, and there's videos floating around of people with pictures of the original letter that they say doesn't exist. But you all know how that works. More to come later.